Thanks for that. That was well done, though. Okay, so this is one dock here. So you're looking at the charging dock itself. There are two parts to our system. So, Leanne, I'll just get you to go forward to the next slide because I'll be talking through the features that people can see there. Let's start with the dock itself. Okay, this can charge two vehicles, so you can see the charging cables up here. In a moment, I'll get Dave to show you how they work. As well as being charging cables, these are locking cables. So they have a stainless steel cable inside them. They're quite strong, so you lock and charge the vehicle using the one cable here. Inside the post, there are programmable smart battery chargers, and they can charge any lithium-ion battery chemistry, plus lead-acid batteries, plus nickel metal hydride batteries. So they basically cover every type of battery on the market, ranging from 24 up to about 60 volts. So very smart chargers sitting inside the dock there. Probably the secret sauce, though, to our system is the other little device that you can fit to any micro-mobility vehicle in about 5 minutes. So I've got one sitting here. Okay, so this we call a one key, so fairly compact. It's got a whole lot of smarts built into it, but I want to first of all get Dave's help, and we're going to show you how, when you attach this to a vehicle, then you can use it to lock and charge the vehicle first of all, and then I'll point out some other features. So Dave's just going to roll that into the dock. So it just holds the front wheel. Now, if he pulls out one of the charging cables from the dock, hopefully everybody can see this, and then you plug it into the socket on the side, you can hear a little beep there. If Dave now tries to pull out that, he can't, it's locked. Now, in that box is a unique digital vehicle ID. So it tells, via the charging cable, the smart programmable charger in here, what sort of battery is on this vehicle. So in this case, it's a Bosch 36-volt battery. So it tells the charger, please switch to the charging program that matches a Bosch 36-volt battery. It even does the electronic handshake, so it can open up the battery's BMS and start the charging cycle, so it's charging right now. And the LEDs on the back change colour depending on sort of what it's doing, so whether it's locking, charging, or whether it's not in a dock at all. At the moment, we are sort of fudging this slightly, but Dave is just using his phones to change the colour. We just want to show you in, obviously, the production version that will tell you what sequence the vehicle is going through, whether it's charging, locking, and so on. There are some other smart features, but let's first of all just unlock that. So Dave's just going to tap it with an RFID tag. In the production version, you'll actually use your smartphone. So there's an app, and you just hit unlock on your smartphone, and that'll unlock it. The cable will go back in. Let's say you've now taken this bike out and about, you're riding it around. You can then use, and we're designing a locking cable that actually is part of the one key device, but it can work with a chain lock like this as well. So you can pull up to an ordinary bike hoop, thread that through the bike hoop, so let's imagine that's right there beside Dave. He plugs it back into the socket, and it locks again. So that's now locked. So it works for mid-trip locking. You don't have to end your trip in one of these charging docks, but the point is that as long as you do this from time to time, it's going to recharge your battery for you. So these docks could be at your workplace, for example. When you take your bike home at night or ride it to the train station, you can use your own cable just to go into the socket there and lock it to another object at the train station or at home, and then when you come back to work, plug it into one dock and it'll start charging again. But the beauty of this device here is that we can layer all sorts of technology into this. So this also has a GPS tracker. So this works for both private vehicles and for fleet vehicles. So you can see in real time where your vehicle is. You can see its battery charging status as well, how full your battery is, whether it's about to run out. It has an accelerometer in it, which detects movement. So let's say you're docked into the dock like this and somebody comes along and tries to steal your vehicle. It will detect that movement, it'll send an alert to your phone, and there is an audio alarm that goes off in the device, and it's quite loud, so that'll hopefully deter people from trying to nick your bike as well. It has the LEDs, which can work as a tail light if it's facing to the rear, or as a headlight if you're mounted facing forwards. And of course it comes with a smartphone app, it comes with a fleet management dashboard that is all built into the system. I'll come back to the partners at the end of the presentation. I'll tell you what tech that we've put into it at that point. Next slide, thanks, Leanne. So why does any of this matter? Like, who is this for? Well, it turns out that OneDock has lots and lots of applications. So just starting with the first little circle on the left there, we are talking, for example, to lots of universities. So there are two main ways you can use OneDock. You can park and charge private vehicles, provided they're fitted this. So again, this only takes 5 minutes to fit. Once it's fitted, it is then permanently connected to the vehicle. And by the way, I didn't point out, this little cable down here is then joined to the vehicle's battery. So it stays plugged into the battery, so every time you dock it charges. Okay, so private vehicle locking and charging and tracking can all happen using this, but probably the primary use is for shared fleets. So at universities, they're looking at both of those cases because they have lots of staff and students bringing their private e-bikes and scooters into lecture halls, for example, finding any available PowerPoint in a room like this, plugging it in. The university has no control over the quality of the batteries that people are using. And as you heard before, this can start battery fires, plus tripping hazards. It's actually become a big problem. But they can also put shared fleets in the same docking station. So you can have a fleet of scooters, for example, that can be shared by everybody. I should point out that here's one of these one key devices mounted on the scooter head tube there, and here's one mounted on the front of this bike. You can see you can mount it pretty much anywhere, and we've got this special V-shaped clamp on the back, which we've put a lot of thought into, which makes it completely universal. We have different sort of size clamping members in there, so it doesn't matter how thick the frame is, you'll fit it on. So universities is a big one. Private enterprise. So if you run an organisation like this organisation here, you can provide a fleet of vehicles for your staff, or they can adopt their own private vehicles. Local government are very interested in this for a similar reason, but they also are looking at public bike share libraries, like the City of Yarra, for example. Property. So if you're a property developer and you're building, say, a build-to-rent residential apartment building, and you put in a OneDock station, then all the tenants in that building can share a fleet of e-cargo bikes, trikes for disabled people, even quadricycles, for example. The same goes for office buildings in the city. So with the end-of-trip facilities, you can put in OneDock stations like these, and they'll do the same thing. Tourism, we're speaking to a few different tourist operators. Obviously, you can have rental fleets, but unlike current day rental fleets, our system, which is completely vehicle agnostic, you can put anything into it. So again, you can provide, Gerald over here from Bright, so Bright is one of our partners. They make trikes for disabled passengers. So this is what you call a tap hole trike. It's got 2 wheels in the front, 1 in the back. You can roll a wheelchair up onto it, so you can carry a wheelchair passenger around on it. And there's another rickshaw version which has a very comfortable seat that people can sit on. So, for example, you could have that, and in fact we're doing that right now with RACV down at Torquay. We haven't installed a docking station with them yet because we haven't actually released this on the market yet, but they are very interested in it. Transport, the first and last mile gaps that I mentioned a couple of times now. So imagine installing really big OneDock stations at every train station. I don't know if you know, but in Victoria at Metro train stations, the government has provided 40,000 car parking spaces free of charge. Now imagine the amount of land that occupies around train stations, which are incredibly valuable plots of land. That's where you want to be putting shops and things like that, but no, they're taken up by car parks. And they only have 3,000 bike hoops at those same train stations. 40,000 car parks, 3,000 bike hoops. Now that just makes no sense to me. Each of those car parks costs between $14,000 and $60,000 to build. So for that, in each of those car parking spaces, you can not only have a one-dock station, you can have all the vehicles to go in it as well at the same price. So it just seems nuts to me. Anyway, so that is a huge opportunity. So, you could ride your e-bike to the train station, dock it, know it's safely charging, it's locked, get off at the other end, Southern Cross Station, pick up a scooter from a one-dock station, ride it to work, whatever. So you can see how it can fill those gaps. Finally, with the last mile delivery, so our sister company has been around for about 20 years, and we've had the Australia Post e-bike contract for about the last 15 years. So we have about 2,000 of our e-bikes running around most cities in Australia. And Australia Post is very interested in this because it will give them all that live data that they can't currently get from their vehicles. It'll also mean that if a postie has a crash, because of the accelerometer in it, it'll detect that sudden deceleration, send off an alert to head office and go, it looks like someone's had a crash. So it has lots of other good features like that. And of course there's the locking and the charging. So when you get back to the depot, just plug your post bike back in. One of the problems that we've got at the moment is they often rip the charges out of the wall because the posties forget to unplug the bikes when they leave the depot. It's quite good for our business because we just keep on replacing charges, but not really good for Australia Post. So yes, there are lots and lots of different applications. So, next slide, thanks Matt. How do we make all this happen? Where have we come from to get to this point, and how do we take it to the world? Well, Scott Dickerson and Steve Smart, so Scott's over the back there and Steve is over here, are the two directors of our company. They self-funded the development of OneDock for about the first 2.5 years, and I'm really grateful for them for having faith in this vision. So thank you guys. We were then very fortunate in September last year that iMove Australia gave us a $500,000 grant to accelerate the development of OneDock and get it to the point where it is today, and take it right through to the point where we can actually start to build these things. So this launch is not only unveiling our technology, it's also letting you know that there is an investment opportunity. You can invest in Microfleet, which is the company behind OneDock. So if there's any investors in the room, very keen to talk to you. My business card's on the table over there. You can grab a brochure as well. Once we launch, which will be later this year, so we will be building these in Melbourne. So also interested to speak to manufacturing parties as well, because we want to keep the building of these local. We've lined up quite a few pilot systems here in Melbourne, but of course our eyes are firmly set on Europe, which is the biggest market in the world for this. So we're fortunate in having partners who come from Europe and the US as well. I'll show you them in just a second. So we have a bit of a launch pad into Europe and also the US, which is great. But look, our ultimate goal is to make OneDock the industry standard for micromobility connectivity. Because if you fit one of these to any vehicle, suddenly that becomes a connected vehicle, it becomes a smart vehicle, becomes part of an intelligent transport system, and that really is a big change. All right, final slide. Thanks, Leanne. So I'd like to thank our supporters. First of all, iMove Australia. They've been incredibly generous, as I said, with the funding that they gave us last year. They've been great partners. So thank you, Leanne. Thank you, Jackie, and Ian, if he's here. Good stuff. Outer Space Design, you can see the banner up the back here. Outer Space has been fantastic to work with. Dave, who whipped the material on the board, is the lead mechanical engineer who has done a lot of the work on all of the complicated stuff that goes on inside this and inside the dock here as well. Outer Space Design have been fantastic. They've been working with us for a couple of years now. Grin Technologies, Grin provide the smart programmable charger that sits inside the dock. It is the best battery charger in the world. TrackApp are a French company, and this is our launch pad into Europe, who have given us the IoT module that is embedded in this device that has all sorts of smarts built into it, plus the front-end software and the back-end software as well. And finally, Bright, who I mentioned before, Gerald over there, will be hopefully building these OneDocks here in Melbourne for us, so they'll be putting them together using intellectually disabled people in a supported workplace, which is what they specialise in. So that's a really good story. So, in summary, One Doc is about connectivity for micromobility. There are lots of opportunities for people here to get involved. We'd love to take you on a journey with us, and we plan to export this to the world. So thank you very much for listening.